I see a bunch of people on the channel here. Feel free to chime in, introduce yourself, let us know what you do. If you're on Twitch, if you're a music video DJ, if you're a non-music video DJ, if you're looking for visuals, or you're just looking to step up your Twitch streaming game. So, Master John, have you used your Christmas visuals yet in your broadcast, just out of curiosity? Right now, I'm just kind of swapping between some of the Christmas elements overlay. There we go, nice little, oh no, that's my stingers. I kind of like that snow. Let's go back to the snow. So what we're going to do in today's live session is the first few minutes, I kind of briefly go over what VJ Tracks is, how it works, and then we just kind of have some fun. Okay, yes. Jeff, how you doing, Jeff? I've got an email for you that I need to follow up with. I just barely walked in the door. I've been out of town for the last week, and I was going to get in touch with you on that project. So thanks for tuning in. All right, so let me start over from the beginning, which is the really quick VJ Tracks demo. And what you see behind me is a music video that is playing on my DJ booth behind me right there. Let me go to a tight center. There we go. So I've got a green screen set up here. I've got my virtual DJ booth facade with my logo spinning down there. My laptop is running Mix Emergency, and I'm sending this music video. I'm even going to jump ahead a little bit, or maybe jump backwards. So I'm running that. That's my audio and video source that you're seeing on the screen behind me. So if we zoom back out, you see that's the footage that's going on over there. So VJ Tracks runs on an application called Magic, and Magic is for Mac and Windows. And it mixes all of your videos, your movie files, your Siphon NDI inputs, your webcams, and you can have multiple inputs, and then you can transform those really easily in with these modules in these nodes, this kind of environment where you've got things layered and hooked up, and you can add, for example, this video switcher. Is a module that I have that runs all the music videos in here, and then this has a scale on it, and if I bypass that scale, you'll see it goes back to full screen. So that's as simple as just adding a scale, adding a translate to move my video background in the screen. And I'm just showing you how easy it is to edit some of these. So if I just had it at full scale right here at 100%, and I'm not translating it anywhere, let's go back to how this scene was set up as a frame. And then you can set this up as a scene and then jump around to other scenes here. And I'm just triggering this from my Stream Deck. So VJ Tracks is an all-in-one visualizer for video DJs, for non-video DJs, for regular DJs, whether they're on green screen or not on green screen. We've built in all the features pretty much for everyone, and not even just DJs, but any kind of Twitch broadcaster, whether you're a gamer or just a performer. The idea is you can build in all of these triggers and scenes and have them at the touch of a button here with your Stream Deck. And actually, we're triggering this with MIDI via the Stream Deck. So VJ Tracks has a bunch of built-in scenes here. I'm just going to go through them kind of quickly. Mostly in this mode, we're showing music videos. So this would be what a music video DJ would be doing if they had a presentation. They're mixing their music videos. Jumping around to all these different scenes, and then you start getting into some fun scenes here that you can start implementing 3D graphics and reflections and motion. So it doesn't have to be static. And then there are some screens here where this is actually you'd swap this out with a PNG. So this might be like an ad for your current broadcast or an upcoming broadcast. There's a starting scene or starting soon scene as well. So you would swap that out with something that says, hey, starting soon. And eventually we're going to put a countdown in that. We'll be getting requests for people to have a countdown in there. So these are all scenes, and you can see this playlist right here. That's actually how I'm triggering all of these scenes. So you can see when I hit my Stream Deck, you'll see it jump. This is the wide center scene. No boot scene. And then if you are not doing music videos, but you still want some cool graphics and loops, this is where you can switch that video input into just a folder of loops. So now instead of the video input that I had, or maybe you're a music video DJ, but you are playing a file that does not have a music video for it, you can drop in a folder of your VJ loops. So you can see I've got different VJ loops going on in the background as well as the foreground. And at any point in time, I can just click that button, switch back to my music video input. So I'm pretty much toggling between music videos and a folder of loops. Hello, DJ Trip, welcome. As well as just basic scenes, you've got some fun effects here like logo overlays. So if you want to put in some branding, you'd see the watermarks in the corners, all of those you'd swap those out. They're all interchangeable, and you can have multiple watermarks as well as various logos. And then we've got what we call our virtual stage effects, where we've got strobes, we've got these spotlights, and they're sound reactive too. So they're going to be if you can see the outline of my DJ booth facade and me, I'm now bouncing in time with the color as well as the spotlights. We've got cold spark machines, bubbles, flamethrowers, pyrotechnics, and then we've got our money drop. And we've got confetti. And then we've got some lasers here. And we have a library. We'll be producing a library of each of these. We already released, like the CO2 jets, for example, a library of, I can't remember, 10 or 20 different CO2 jet patterns. And you can just swap these out with whichever one you prefer, or just hook it up to a folder and it will randomly grab a CO2 jet every time you trigger that button. Same with all of these effects. All of those we'll have once we completely get these libraries out, where we've got we'll have a library of flamethrowers, a library of pyrotechnics, etc., etc. So everything you're seeing is built in with VJ Tracks Pro Live, or Live Pro. So now we're going to start doing some fun customizing, tweaking of things. Let's see here. Let's go to, I'll throw in a few of and this is what I was doing when we jumped on the stream, is I was adding some Christmas light overlays. So let's talk a little bit how these modules work over here. So this scene in this view right here is represented by all of these modules, and they're all collapsed. So if we expand it, it'll start making a little bit more sense. So we've got this scene called watermark logo, which is, if we turn that off, that's this guy up here. And this watermark logo represents this scene over here. Where is my watermark? Oh, here we go. Watermark logo represents this scene, and let me open up a preview window. So you see that that logo now switched to this version of this logo because this embedded in this scene is actually a module called logo inputs. So let's go to logo inputs and see what logo inputs is doing. So this is doing quite a bit, quite a few things here. So let me explain what's going on here. So the idea is we've set up this scene called logo inputs where you would be able to collect all of your logos and then we would use them throughout all the various scenes. So right now, this has a PNG module. It has a movie file 1 and movie file 2. And then we're running this through a random switcher. So every 60 seconds, this will grab either the PNG or the movie file or this movie file. And once you learn how to use Magic, you would be able to set up an infinite number of modules if you wanted to, and the timer. You would be able to set this to 30, and you'd have a logo changing every 30 seconds. You would change the number of inputs you have here, and once you kind of get used to their coding system, you can see how you would easily be able to do that. So if I turn off the randomizer, and I'll actually just switch between the sources. And again, this is the preview window, and then this is how it looks like in that scene up here. So you can see the PNG is on input 0. This is like DMX or like MIDI. It's everything started 0. So input 0 is this PNG. Input 2 is this logo file, this 3D spinning movie. And logo 2 is the spinning record. So you can see if there was just a specific logo I always wanted to use while I'm jumping through my scenes. I'll jump through various scenes here. And you can see the position, also that spinning VJ. This is a watermark, and we'll talk about the difference between the logo and the watermark. But you'll see this will change. It can change positions throughout the various scenes. So going back to our logo inputs, it may be a bit confusing because everything here is branded with VJ Tracks, but obviously you would brand it with your own logo, and then you would have possibly a watermark of the show or the network that you're on. But the idea is it's built in mind to have two different watermarks on screens at all time. One of those is one of your logos, and the other one can be a selection of any kind of other network logos, and you can turn them on and off very easily. So anything you can see is totally customizable. You don't even have to. You can completely bypass these throughout the entire project file. If you do have any questions, feel free to post those in the chat, and I will address those. Okay, so now I'm going to switch my input selector back to random. So now that every 60 seconds, well, let's make it interesting. Every 15 seconds, it's going to grab a new logo. And then the watermarks. So this is the other watermark logo, watermark 1, and again, I've loaded in pretty much the same for all of these, but I can grab a different logo. Let's see if I have anything. Oh, for this file, I'm pretty much just using the same logos. So just keep in mind that you can swap out pretty much anything you want for these logos or for these watermarks, and they're just placeholders. Now, this is something I was playing around with earlier. This is kind of fun. So our DJ booth facade, as you can see, and again, the video down below is the preview of what we're seeing here in our facade. We have this built in so it can swap between a video file or your music video input. So let me take a look over here. There we go. So over on my Stream Deck, I have a toggle where we can just select any particular video file or whatever music video is playing. And that's matching, of course, what you see in the background. So for Christmas, my facade movie is, let's go to, it's a fireplace, of course. So the idea is over the holidays, you can swap between your music videos or any kind of logo, or I made this fireplace loop. So that's what I've been doing for December. And then let's go to the DJ booth module. And this is kind of fun. One of our freebies is this dancing Santa. And I put the dancing Santa on top of the DJ booth, and all my viewers were like, what, is that real? Is that really on top of your DJ booth? And when I dropped it in here initially, it was full size standing behind the DJ booth, so it looked like Santa was DJing. So let me show you what that looks like real quick. So I created a new video file module. We're going to load in our dancing Santa, and there, you now have one of those silly dancing Santa toys as your DJ. We'll actually put him on top of the DJ booth, but when it first popped in like that, I thought that was very humorous. All right, Santa. And this is just showing really how easy it is to just kind of customize things and add things into your scene. Now, keep in mind that I'm adding this into the DJ booth scene, so this DJ booth scene is embedded in all my other scenes. So even though I'm now in these different scenes, you can see Santa he's a part of the DJ booth. So anywhere I've got that Santa going on, the DJ booth module, yes, DJ Santa takes requests, but only if you're a good boy or girl, or they them. Don't want to discriminate. If you're a good human being, Santa will take requests. So that way you can see how you can embed. I embedded the Santa inside of the video module, or excuse me, the DJ booth module, and that way anytime I drop that DJ booth module anywhere, we've got our Santa. Now let's put him on top of the DJ booth. So let's go back to our dancing Santa, and I'm going to right click on this, say insert output, and we are going to scale him. Scale is a technical term for size. So you can see as he's getting smaller and smaller. And then I'm going to right click on that and say insert output, and we're going to add a transform of translate. And you see these modules are just kind of connect in the chain here. So I'm going to bring them up on the Y axis, move them over to the side over here. So you can see just with a little bit of trial and error, I'm just playing around with these. We want him a little bit smaller, and then we're going to drop him down on the Y there. So that looks, let me go to there you go. So that's the Santa I had running on my broadcast the other night, and my listeners were cracking up because it is real footage. It is real footage of one of those toys, so the motion looks real, but no one could really tell if he was if he was a real world object or if he was CG. So when I'm actually in my DJ booth right here, I've got my Santa. Hi, Santa. Oh, so right, let's see here. Is he? So he needs to be, yeah, that's right. So you could do, I've got my masking on my green screen set, so he's just barely on the edge there, but you get the idea. So that's something fun there. And let's actually go back to the facade, the booth facade, because this is where we have our fireplace loop. We've even got, see these little details right here. And I'm actually going to swap that out for some Christmas lights. So let's replace, because this is an image, but my Christmas lights are video files. So I'm going to replace this module when I right click on it, say replace with video file. And that's going to change this now to a video file. And it's kind of handy because it keeps everything in the chain, so I don't have to rewire everything. And then let's grab, oh, there we go. And this is being affected by color right here. Let's turn off that color because we don't want to. So this is a module right here that's running the color from the music, but we can just bypass it, and we've got our nice little Christmas lights. Let's see here, or how about our candy cane border? There we go. So to go back now, we've got our candy cane border, which is in our booth facade scene. And our booth facade scene is inside of our DJ booth. So everywhere we're going to use that DJ booth now, that will be our holiday scene there. It's so festive. Again, if there's any questions on how to do any of these things, or any ideas you can think of to say, how would I go about doing this? Okay, so let's see what else can we do. One of the things that is pretty difficult to do in OBS is animate elements. So let's, and this is going to kind of be wacky, but let's do it anyway. Let's go to the to just give you an idea. All right, let's find a scene here. Here we go. Here's a scene that we can do something with. All right, we're going to take our DJ booth. So here's our DJ booth module, and it is hooked up to a translate. And this translate, if I bypass it, you'll see all we've done is DJ Trip. You said video screens. What exactly do you mean by video screens? So this shows how, when I bypass this, it kind of jumps to this location. These little guys here, when you say link to input, you can create some interesting effects, because you're now saying, all right, I want to link this X location to, say, a global. And I have a global set up for, where's my base global? There we go. So right now, the X value of the translate of my DJ booth is bouncing in time to the base, if that makes sense. So you can see that's not very usable. We're gonna do something that is usable. But the idea is that any of these you can change to, like, a MIDI source, for example. So if you had a MIDI slider, you could actually use your MIDI slider and slide the DJ booth back and forth across the screen. We're just going to set up some of these little scripts here to do let's do an oscillator. So we're moving back and forth. Looks like we need to set up a negative offset. Let's set up, let's try a negative, what, a negative 2. Or actually, looks like we're going to need to do a scale. And then we'll slow it down. All right, so you see now we're moving really fast because I put a scale of 3 on there. So we're going to slow down the oscillator. We need to slow it down even more so we don't make our viewers seasick. There we go. And you can see with trial and error, you can add all these mathematical functions to create the values. So I think that's where we needed to add our negative offset at the end. And these are also a chain as well, if you think about it. Let's speed this up a little bit. Okay. So a lot of this is trial and error until you actually get how it works. We say, oh, we're not going out far enough. So that's where you can tweak your offsets. You can tweak the scale. So that needs a bigger scale and probably less offset. But you get the idea. Using these mathematical functions, you can kind of make these cool animated values, and that works for anything, whether it's translate or whether it's scale. For example, if we turn this off, I'm going to bypass this. I'm going to insert a scale on this, and then I'm going to make that scale sound active. So you can see, again, not very useful, but you can see, oh, I'm now bouncing on the And to go and fix something like that to make it more useful, we would say, I'm going to use the base global. So on the base, we're going to, let's see here, where's our base? Now you can see, because the scale is at 0, that's why I have disappeared. So that's where we need to add in an offset. So I'm going to go here and say offset. I'm going to say 1. So that means the very minimal value is 1. And you can see the base is, I'm starting to bounce just a little bit there. And if we wanted to intensify that, that's where we would put a scale. Oh, looks like the base just kicked in because now I'm really moving. There we go. So the base kicked in, so now I'm really bouncing. And there's also a smooth function in here so that it's not as jarring. And you just adjust that value, and you can see that that smooths that in and out. Again, you can bypass any of these, which is helpful when you're troubleshooting or when you're doing a trial and error. So that's the toggle that smooth off, that smooths on. And turning off the offset, you can see I'm starting out at 0 and scaling from the center, zooming back in and out when I toggle that. So that should give you a little bit of background into how that works. And that could be a transform, a scale, any kind of parameter. It could be any kind of filter. So something could blur in time with the music, or not just in time with the music, but triggering any kind of MIDI, or using globals, or any kind of math. So let's see here. Any questions? Let me look at the chat here. And yeah, go ahead and post any questions if you have anything. I'm going to bypass that so we're not bouncing around all over the place. Let's go to this. This is interesting, this floating screen. And this is where we had a snow flurry going. Let's turn on our snow flurry. Pretty much everything you see here is right out of the box. And then I'm kind of showing how easy it is to edit these going forward, how you can kind of tweak these scenes. So let's see here, my floating scene, let me put that in the main scene. There we go. And we're gonna tweak this a little bit. So you can see how the video screen is bobbing up and down, as well as the DJ booth. Let's kind of show how that's working. So first of all, this background here, this represents this scene. So we've got this in the background, this water loop. I'm going to turn that off for a minute. So you can see I'm creating this illusion of the water being reflected just on this water loop. Yep, I will do that, DJ Trip. Let me break apart this, and then we'll go ahead and do that. So this is just an illusion of an actual, you can see this is a reflection module. This is actually doing a reflection, and you can tweak the parameters like the amplitude of the water, the transparency, how it's mixing with this water effect. You've got speed, frequency, and you kind of tweak those to, to kind of give it that realistic effect. I've tweaked those kind of beyond what was realistic, but just to give you an idea, let me undo those and kind of get back to where it was. Also, let's hide the DJ booth for a second. So we're just dealing with the background. There you go. If I expand these, you'll see there's a couple things going on. So this module, we can see the numbers are moving in here. That's when you know that that's where some of that magic is happening. We bypass that. You'll see our screen is no longer on this sine oscillator going up and down on the Y value. So this is what's controlling that bobbing up and down effect. So if you're saying, you know what, I actually like this effect, I just don't want it to bob up and down, well, you can turn that off, and then you can adjust your screen, so it's just kind of the edge of it sitting on the water. But it's kind of a cool effect to have the bottom of the screen kind of dipping inside this water reflection layer. So that's how, that's kind of a very useful effect for being able to put in these little math modules, the sine oscillator and a scale and an offset for a video screen. Or when we turn on the DJ booth has a similar offset, but it's not synced up on purpose. There's actually an offset in there so that these will kind of bob up and down in the water, but not at the same rate. All right, so DJ trip, let's make a DJ booth and a video screen scene. All right. So one of the things is to keep in mind is that when you open up Magic, it's a blank slate. You've got none of these exist here. These are all the scenes that we've made for you to just make it super easy, kind of building blocks to make your own scenes from. So using these building blocks, I'm going to say add scene, and you can see we have this just generic scene, scene 31. We're gonna right click on that, rename scene, and we'll call it demo scene. And you can also see I can add a folder in here as well, and this is just for scene, and drag and drop it into there. So this is mostly to just keep your scenes organized, keep it clean. You can collapse these just to make it easier to manage all your scenes, because eventually you'll have dozens and dozens of scenes going on in there. But that's just kind of the scene management system. You can right click on the folder, rename the folder. So we've got our demo scene. If we click on it, all we have is this output node called Magic that's included in every scene, because you have to hook up something to output. And again, this top scene up here, we're actually going to cover this up because this isn't even, we're just going to be working in the demo scene. So because we already have all these building blocks, I can do a right click and say add. Now, keep in mind, I have a ridiculous amount of plugins. when you first install Magic, you will not have this many plugins. You'll have maybe a little row, and then it'll go right to scenes. So these are all some fun things we're experimenting with. But you will have this thing that says scenes. So this is how you input a scene. So we are going to put in a video switcher. You can see when that connects it, the second it touches that, it is now connected. And again, the video switcher is the scene that I built over here, video switcher. But actually, let's even go back. Let's even go back further. Let's actually take the raw NDI siphon input. So we'll go to media. We'll say video capture. Oop, not video capture. Oh, that's my webcam. Hi. That's the video capture module. And that's how you would get, that's how you would build your DJ booth. We want siphon client. So this is, you can see the DJ Lex mix emergency output NDI to siphon. That's the video that's running behind me off that laptop. So all I had to do is right click, create that, boom, and we now have that in there. If I wanted to put in if we're actually going to do this from scratch, let's go ahead and grab my video capture. Now, keep in mind, the order in which these are connected matters. So right now, the siphon client is above my video capture, and now I'm going to swap that out. So let's go to, actually, you can see I have multiple webcams here. There's my top DJ cam, there is my front view. All right. So you're saying, okay, well, how do we get that look where we just need to get a green screen, a chroma, and then we need to crop this out and then scale it, transform it. So let's see here. We want to I haven't built this module in a while, so let's see here. Geometry, star field, blend, impulse luster, mask. We want a shape mask, I'm pretty sure is what we want. Let's see here. Where's our shape mask? Because I have so many things in here now. So all I have to do is say search. There we go, a shape mask. So you can see it's default to a triangle or a rectangle or a circle. Hey, that's kind of fun. You can scale. We're going to, but really what we need is a rectangle. So, but the reason why I use a rectangle is to just easily scale out all of the unnecessary area around my studio, because I just want to focus on that. So this is how you do it from scratch. So let's see here, and then I can change the center because we still need a little bit more over there, and crop that down there, and that gets me right in the neighborhood right there. So now we bring in, we're going to insert another output, and that is going to be our, I believe it's fast, chroma key fast is the one we want to use. And chroma key can be really tricky. There's some really good ones in software that, let's see here, that work really well, and especially if you have really good lighting. Probably what I need to do is go back to my DJ booth and see what the settings are, just in the interest of time. Oh, it looks like I'm actually using this chroma key module. Let's just copy that over then. I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste, replace. Okay, there we go. So it was a different chroma key module, but just if we're tweaking the settings, you get that the standard chroma key, dial that in. It all depends on your lighting in your studio to really dial in chroma keying. And I would recommend, there are so many chroma key modules. There's multiple chroma key modules for Magic that are out there, but yeah, this one is working better for my scene. Okay, great. So now I'm going to drop this. You see, we're kind of building this chain of modules. Now I'm going to just drop this on the bottom of the screen. So I'm going to insert a transform. We're going to translate that. We're going to drop it so it's sitting right on the bottom of the screen. There we go. So I now have, and again, I have all sorts of things that are imperfections that you're seeing right now. But in general, oh, and you can see I'm a little off center, so we can adjust that with a translate. So I'm going to drop me over a little bit, just nudge me a little bit to the side here, so that, because my camera is not centered with my DJ booth, so that's why I needed to use an offset, so I can go here. And now I'm on a festival stage behind me. Great. So that's really quickly how you would set up a chroma key and green screen, how you would take that, you use the chroma key, use the masking, and we've done some pretty fun things with the circle masking, where we put it on top of a record, for example. So let me show you that real quick. The idea is that you could now spin, let's see here. I'm going to put inserts a rotate on here. This will make sense in just a second. So let me turn off my chroma key so you can see my background here. All right. You can see how I can rotate this I should put this on the other side of that. There we go. We're gonna put the rotation on the other side of our translate. And you can see how, I guess we're gonna have to turn off that translate and put that in at a different level, but, because the circle is not exactly in the center of my room, that's why, excuse me, so let's make this perfectly centered, and that way we'll be, there we go. So what you could do now, and I do this on some of my modules where I actually have the view of this top-down camera, and I actually have how you saw me masking it onto the platters, and that's how, and then we're going to spin it. So let me go back to my camera. So now we can hook this up to, we're going to hook this up to a ramp that just goes from 0 to 1. I'm going to slow that down. There we go. And then we're going to invert that because we want that spinning the direction of the record. So now, I think I would probably slow that down even more because that would make your viewers a little ill, probably. But you get the idea. So now, well, hey, let's go ahead and map that onto my controller. Why not? So instead of my background, yeah, I'm going to slow it down a little bit more so you don't get too dizzy. You can slow it down, but it's the only thing on the screen, so of course it's going to make you dizzy. If I add, let's add my camera. Let's see here. Where's my second camera? Yeah, I'm going way off, way out down the rabbit hole on this one. All right, let's do our media, video capture. Oh, we don't want that mapped in there. We're going to grab our, there we go. So I'm going to hide this really quick. So this is my studio setup. Let's zoom in on that. So we're going to do a scale, insert output, transform, scale. And then let's need to translate that just a little bit. Insert output, transform, translate. You can see I need a better camera for that. Oops, wrong direction, 0.05. There we go. So for my scene, I have it cropped really tight, but since we're just kind of freelancing here, let's make sure this is somewhat. Move my headphone cables. So this is the top view of my my controller, and this is actually, I do have a scene in one of my DJ Bueller sets where I have the music video playing on one deck, on deck number 1, and then I've got me on deck number 2. So that's kind of what we're building right now. So now let's move me over, insert output, transform, scale, and let's make me about the size of that controller. Now, I wish that Magic had like a drag and drop where I can drag and move that around. Some of that would be nice if it had an actual, a direct interface on it instead of an indirect interface, but one of these days. So then we add insert and output, transform, translates, and we're going to get me over in that neighborhood. Scale me down just a little bit more. And let's see here, 1. This is where it gets tricky because then you start getting into the decimal points. Oops, 1.05. 1.08, close enough, 1.085. There we go. So yeah, the idea is that now I'm spinning inside of that, or let's turn off our spin. So I'm actually just there. And let's swap that out instead of the video capture. Say, hey, I want to take my siphon. Let's see, replace with special, our siphon client, which is the music video that's playing over there. And we're just masking it with that circle, as you can see. So we have done some really fun things when you have the controllers or the vinyl label. You can see you can layer that on top of the vinyl label and then match that rotation at 33 1/3, whatever that might be. That's going to get you dizzy. So yeah, that's some super creative ways to put either your webcam or your video or your graphics on top of your overhead view, whether it's a controller, whether it's a turntable. And the other thing you can do is, so here's something that a lot of you, this is probably going through your head right now. You're saying, okay, well, what if I want to duplicate that? This is where it starts kind of getting messy. Let me clean this up. So the idea is you don't have to, we've already got this module and you can pull another output off of it. So let's see here, we've got this, let's pull another module off of this and go into add translate. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to copy and paste this. And this will make sense here in a moment, but let me get this, figure it out. And we're going to go off of this. There we go. So you can see all I did was I pulled off another output from this and duplicated everything. And now I'm just using this to translate everything that we had done on that chain. That way I can line this up directly with this side. Looks like at this point, it looks like more of an issue with my camera being off-centered here. There we go. Okay. So you can see all I did was split this module to these two translates. One is here, one is this guy, and one is this guy. So I didn't have to redo all of that work. I just figured out which one I needed to split that off and then grabbed a translate off of it. And then if I wanted to swap this back out with my webcam, right click, replace with media, video capture, and that goes back to my cameras. There we go. And then we can turn my green screen back on. So you can see it's really fun and creative. Oh, that really is. Let's turn off that rotation. So you can see it's a really fun and creative way to just kind of play with all these ideas, all these scenes. And then again, you can take this scene and embed it into another scene, and so on and so on and so on. So I think that's enough for you guys to chew on, right? Is there any questions, anything that, any ideas or any questions or any thoughts on what we're doing? Because we are getting to the point where we wrap this up. We are going to, let's see, we do have a coupon code. The coupon code went out in the email list. And if you are not on the email list, which you should be, because if you knew about this, that means you're probably on the email list. But the coupon code is, let me type this in. This will give you 50% off a VJ Loop Pack. Xmas is our coupon code. That will be a one-time code that's good up until, I believe, Friday or Saturday. 50% off a loop pack. And you may want to, if you already have the Christmas elements, you may consider getting one of the fireworks packs for New Year's, because we have a library of tons of fireworks. Let's see if I can find that really quick. Let's go to our, let's see here. Let's go to our video loops here and see if we can show some of the, let's see, where would I even find them? Where would I even find them? I probably don't have them on this drive, actually, now that I think about it. Let's see here. Let me dig around over here. Well, maybe I'll have to just direct you to the Facebook, excuse me, the website that has all the demo videos on it. It looks like that's going to be the thing, because I don't have them on this drive. So next time we'll do the fireworks, although we do have the staged pyrotechnics, but that isn't the same. The real, we've got these, which are CG generated staged pyrotechnics versus actual footage of fireworks, and that stuff is pretty cool. I'm seeing if I have it handy, because I'm just looking at my drives here, and I don't think I have it on any of these drives. Yeah. So if you could only see my computer, you would see that I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 external drives. So that's why sometimes it's not as easy to find things when I need them. So anyway, the coupon code, Xmas, and here we go. The other thing is I don't want to show anything that I shouldn't be showing. That's the other problem with digging through the, all the locations are gone over here. Huh, that's interesting. Wow. Okay, well, we'll have to look into that, restart my computer and get all my locations back. So, any questions before we wrap it up? I'm just going through here. And also the Santa, the silly dancing Santa, he is the freebie. So if you aren't on the mailing list, be sure to go to vjtracks.com, get on the mailing list, and that way you'll get all of those fun little freebies. Like DJ Santa. There we go. It should be DJ Santa. So yeah, if you need to do something like that for your broadcast, that works too. All right, well, I think that wraps up this VJ Tracks live session. Thank you. There you go in the chat. There's the link to sign up for the mailing list where you get coupon codes, you get all sorts of goodies, freebies, and we also let you know of the latest product releases. So once again, thanks for joining me, and I will be on as DJ Bueller tonight at 8 p.m. Mountain Time if you want to see how all of these come into play in a real video DJ setup. Let me see if there we go. That's not ridiculous. And we will catch you time. Once again, thanks for your time. Thanks for hanging out with us so we can show you all these fun things. and we will catch you next week.